much, Cheryl. We had a little bit of a talk before we started presenting, and we realised that we actually segue quite nicely into what my discussion today, or talk today, will be about, which is goal setting. So when we were doing that purpose, I realised that I might just tell you a little bit about myself. I don't have any PowerPoint. I have always been self-employed, and I call myself an entrepreneur or a small businesswoman. And when I was about 40, I had a dream, and I woke up first thing in the morning. You know, those morning dreams. Sometimes you remember them, and they can be quite enlightening. And this one was I saw my tombstone, and I went to my funeral. And on that tombstone, it said, Amanda Warrington, she was a great retailer. Good, hey. So I had that dream, and I went, gee, you know, there I was, a kid, you know, I was quite bright in school, I had the whole world at my feet, so many choices. I remember going to a career counsellor and saying, you know, what should I do? And they said, they gave me all these tests, and, you know, this is back in the old days, they didn't sort of really give you much guidance, but I had the tests. And in those tests, they said, you can do whatever you want to do. So I ended up being a retailer. And it was great, I really liked it. But at that point, I thought, there's got to be more than saying, yeah, honey, that scarf looks really nice on you. I love you in blue. That's just the best thing, yeah? I love it. You should always wear blue, yeah? And your haircut's great, yeah? Those glasses really suits you, yeah? So I realised that there was more to my life than just that way of communicating. I didn't know how else to communicate. I didn't know how to write. I didn't know how... I had friends from the corporate world who used to have a jargon that I didn't understand, and I just went, wow, there's a whole world out there I don't know anything about other than beauty and fashion and all that sort of stuff, which is not bad. So I thought, okay, time to learn. So I went and did like a bridging course at University of Sydney. And I did really well. I got an HD in this little bridging course, and I went, oh, gee, I can actually write. I'm not kind of dumb. I think I can do this. So then I went ahead and, well, my lecturers at that time said, you should do a degree. And I thought, wow, that's huge. I don't know if I could do that. But in the end, I got one. I got an arts degree in my 40s in art history and theory. Can't get away from the beauty. But loved it. Loved it. Did really well, and was still a retailer, or still in business. And then similarly to our lovely friend Kellyanne, my mother passed away, and so my life changed totally. I all of a sudden became a caring person. I thought I'd been quite self-indulgent up until then, but this is before my mother passed away. In the last year or so, I really took care of her, and a whole other side of me came out. So this was a big transformation for me. You know, I became someone different. And at the end of that, I couldn't go back to work. It was kind of like I was a different person, and I didn't know what to do next. And because I was good at business, a few of my friends started calling me up and saying, hey, I'm opening a business, don't know what to do, can you come around and give us some advice? I'm like, oh, okay, right, I think I'll do that, I can do that. So I'd go along to people's places, and I'd set up the systems for them to start their small businesses, from my girlfriend who's a doctor to a photographer. I started archiving all her photographs and just setting up systems for people and helping them with their businesses and listening to them. And then someone said to me, hey, you could be a business coach. And I went, huh? What's that? And I went, oh, okay. So then I thought, well, how do I do that? So I saw this ad on the internet. It was for a place called The Coaching Room. And I thought, oh, okay, I might just go and check that out. I'd heard about NLP before. And I was still sort of reeling a little bit from all of my mum passing away. But Jay and Joe were really kind and really nice, and I kind of got that I could do this and that I really enjoyed it. But I didn't know how to move it forward. And then I met someone who suggested that I go to uni again and do a master's, and that's where I am today. But through that, then I had to start looking at what was important in moving forward and to achieving our goals and becoming who we want to be. What's the difference between me and Oprah, or you know, you and Julia Gillard, or any of us and anyone that we dream of being. Not that I dream of being Oprah, but you know, what is the difference between me and a coach that can, you know, get $1,000 an hour or something like that? Well, yes, there's confidence, absolutely, but it's goal setting, I believe, and it's something about purpose. It's being on purpose. I agree with you, and recognise and working to purpose, which I think that you're going to be talking about. Is someone's talking about strengths later. Yeah, yeah. So it's working with your strengths, and it's also setting goals. So one of the things I do with my clients, and I thought I'd share with you today, is this. We did talk a bit about purpose, so that's really important, but this is the next part. If I was to say to you to draw on a piece of paper, which you might want to do, a line. And I usually make it at 3 years, but you want to might make it 5 years. So let's say 3 years here, and today's here. How many people in this room are self-employed or have their own business? Oh, that's great. And how many people would like to have their own business? Oh, okay. And how many people just really like their work and are happy in the jobs that they're doing, or have jobs and are not planning to ever be self-employed? Okay, so if you're thinking of, but even for people who are not thinking about being self-employed, this is possibly like your career trajectory, becoming the GM or whatever you want to be of your business that you're in. So here, I often say, it's like if I could be like Tinkerbell. That was the only slide I was going to bring, but I couldn't find a good one. I don't feel like Tinkerbell. I haven't got that cute little... But anyway, if I was like Tinkerbell and I could spray beautiful stardust all over each and every one of you, and you could have the perfect life in 3 years' time, what would that be? Do you want to start writing that down? Perfect life. So that means, how much money would you like to be earning? Yeah? How many hours would you like to be working? Do you still want to work full time? Are you happy to work more? What does it look like, that life of yours in 3 years' time? Are you working on your own? Are you working with others? We've already talked about purpose. So are you following your purpose? Are you working with those things that you wrote down about your purpose in life? And I suggest that you make a goal that's kind of higher, a bit of a stretch. If you do a bit of a stretch, then you've got a better chance of achieving more. If it's just a sort of a humdrum, oh well, you know, nice to see the kids out of school and, hey, I might have a bit of time, I might work 2 days a week. It's kind of predictable, isn't it? What about a stretch? Something that would really, wow, make you want to wake up in the morning and pinch yourself and say, wow, this is great. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see that purpose to be. Well, not purpose, the goal to be. And purpose. So, what's some ideas? Does anyone want to share anything with the group about what they would love to have in their lives in 3 years' time? Yeah?
I'd like to be travelling overseas and domestically regularly with a 5 million, 2.5 as profit and 5 as a turnover. And I would like to also be able to live and work anywhere I want in the world.
Sounds good to me. I like the sound of that. Anyone else? No. Okay, so if you've written down what you'd like to achieve in 3 years, that's great. And then just start thinking about how to get there, because that's the important part. So if in 3 years' time you're travelling around the world and you're making 5 million?
It's 2.5 profit in 3
I'm going there. If you're doing that, can I use you as an example? If you're going to do that in year 3, what do you think you'd be doing in year 2?
Depending on the range of products and services, probably about 2.
And
about 1.5 as profit.
Right. And then, how are you working in this period? Because it's good to talk about the money, but also what's your lifestyle?
Well, because it's global and a lot of it's online, then my lifestyle is pretty much anywhere I can be, wherever I choose, and access 24/7, and making money while I sleep. So there's transactions happening that don't require me to be awake, let alone present.
So you have quite a bit of freedom. You're not having to work 9 to 5. So that's one of the choices that you're making as well, is not to work 9 to 5. And how many hours a week do you think you would be working in this business?
Oh, well, I would be keeping an eye on it.
Right.
But the business is 24/7, and I would just be looking at it intermittently and outsourcing a lot too.
Right.
So I wouldn't be employing people. There'd be other people doing things for me, but it would be outsourced.
And the trade-off, though, is that you could be working anywhere in the world.
Absolutely, that's the important thing.
Yeah. Okay. And to your time frame.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So here you said you're about half.
About 1.5 at that point.
Yeah.
In profit.
Yeah. From here it's 2.5.
Yeah.
So 2.5 profit here, and here's 1.5.
Yeah.
What do you think around here? How do you get to these points? What sort of work have you done? So this is the things that you need to fill in here. Is actually, we're talking quite quickly here. Sorry, if you were in a session with me, it would be quite a lot longer. But and we'd probably do this over a period of time. We'd be talking about how you get to these points. But the point is what are the milestones, and making milestones that you can evaluate. So the really important part is then here. If you look at in 3 years, this is where I'd like to be. How did you get there? So what would in 2 years look like? What would 1 year look like? But then you go back to what can you do in the next month that's going to make you move forward towards this goal. Yeah? And these goals are going to keep changing along the way. And as they do, you can then tick them off and as you've achieved them. And don't forget to celebrate them. I think we talked about that earlier. Celebrate your wins, and also recognize that things are going to change. Even though you might have a picture that says how your business is going to look, it may not look like that in the end. It might be slightly different. I don't know about the goods or services that you're going to be selling at that time, but it gives you an idea. Any questions about goal setting around? This is quite simple, but any questions that anyone has? No? Okay, well, thank you very much. And I hope you've really enjoyed today. It's been great. I've enjoyed all the speakers, and I hope you have too. Thank you very much.